Okay, a very, very, very warm afternoon, very distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome. You're welcome. We're welcome. It's a pleasure to welcome you to this event. Of course, the event to honor the amazing women we have. Of course, we kindly appeal that please, for the course of this event, you can share the screen, share the link to your friends, share the links to your amazing colleagues because we are about to celebrate women in an amazing way today. So on behalf of SPE Abuja section, I say a warm welcome. Of course, this year we embrace the theme Empower Her, Empower Humanity. A powerful reminder that when we uplift women, we uplift the society as a whole. So today is about celebrating resilience, innovation, and of course, the remarkable contributions of women in the energy sector and beyond. My name is Ofofono Akpan. My pleasure to serve as your anchor for today. Today we have an inspiring lineup of leaders who will speak to us. Of course, we have Excellency Dr. Zainab Bagudu, who will give us an inspiring keynote address, and of course, an array of several other panelists who will do justice today. Of course, I'd like to say a warm thank you to our section chair, of course, who has made this event a success. Of course, let's continue the event by a little icebreaker. Do me a favor. We are celebrating women. So I'd like to see your answers on the chat box. If you could have a coffee chat with an inspiring woman, past or present, who would it be and why? If you had the opportunity to have a coffee chat with a lady, an inspiring woman, who would that woman be? Who would you pick to have a coffee chat with? Just go to the chat box and drop your comments. Let me read it. Go to the chat box and drop your comments. If you're to have a coffee chat with an inspiring woman, past or present from any part of the world, who would that woman be and why? We're going to have that question for like 2 minutes. I'll read, let's know your name first, where you're joining us from, and who the woman would be. And then we would continue with the course of the event. Of course, on your screen, you can see the agenda. This event is built to last for 1 hour, 40 minutes. And of course, it's going to be a very interesting and engaging one. SPE Abuja is very particular about safety. Yes, we are particular about safety. So, of course, you ask for the course of this event. You take key attention to the few safety briefs we have on your screen. Please, if you're not speaking, mute your microphone, raise up your hands if you want to speak. Use the chat buttons, C for comments and Q for questions. And of course, the moderator who will introduce this link to all of your friends. We had over 90 people register for this event. This event is also live streamed on YouTube. Just in case the Zoom is filled, you can always go to YouTube and watch. SPE Abuja section is the YouTube channel link. Of course, we continue the event. Let me read your amazing comments, please. If you had the opportunity to have a coffee chat with an inspiring woman, who would you pick? I would like to read your comments. Section chair, council chair, our panelists, Farida, let me see who is that person who would like to have a coffee chat with and why. I'm reading. Once again, welcome to our IYD Day, organized by SPE Abuja section. And I'll be so pleased to read who you would like to read to have a coffee chat with. Okay, section says my mom. She was an example of resilience and a super inspiring woman. The next will be Rosa Parks. I would want to know what inspired her action in those years when it was a taboo to act the way she did. Amazing. Two people section chair would like to have a coffee chat with if he had the opportunity again. Of course, Engineer Basaka says Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. So we are not giving us why you want to have a chat with Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. Of course, is it because she would release funds for NMDPRA having to be in charge of the World Trade Organization? Mohammed Dan Musa says Amina J. Mohammed of the UN. Of course, she's a trailblazer. I like that. Medina says, I would say Oprah because I'm in the same path with her as a show host, and I'd like to talk about her journey and her struggles. Amazing, amazing. And of course, Mariam Gadadu says Amina Mohammed. So Amina is repeating, like two people are saying Amina of the UN. Amazing. Of course, Council Chair Amina Damadami says Maya Angelou for her amazing insights about life as a Black woman. Amazing, amazing, amazing. I love all of the names I'm seeing there. And of course, I celebrate all of you on this call because you're all inspiring in one way or the other. Okay, please, we would like the chat box to be inspiring, of course, as engaging as possible. Let's make the chat box engaging as possible. We'll switch gears immediately, ladies and gentlemen, to officially welcome a few of our distinguished guests and speakers that have joined us today, each of whom they play a role in advancing diversity and inclusion in our industry. Of course, I'd like to start by saying a warm welcome to the section chairman of SPE Abuja, of course, our leader, engineer Ikechiko Okafor, PhD. Warm welcome to you, sir. Good afternoon to you, sir. Confirm you can hear me, sir.
I can hear you loud and clear. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for how you lead the section right. He for she ambassador. I'd like to say a warm welcome to the council chairman of SPE Nigeria Council. Of course, the first female to ever hold this position. We say a warm welcome to engineer Amina Danmadami, PhD. Warm welcome to you, ma'am. Confirm you can hear me.
Thank you, Akpan. I can hear you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Of course, we are pleased to have the keynote speaker today, who, of course, will do justice to the theme, Empower Her, Empower Humanity. We'd like to welcome Her Excellency Dr. Zainab Bagudu, the founder and CEO of Medic Aid Foundation. Welcome, ma'am, our keynote speaker. Confirm you can hear me, ma'am. Okay, possibly she is going to join us. She's on the call. Confirm you can hear me, ma'am. Dr. Zainab, Her Excellency, ma'am. Okay. We'd love to also welcome all of the amazing panelists and moderators on the call, starting from the director, host community of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC, Mrs. Edi Ufondu. Welcome, ma'am. Confirm you can hear me.
Thank you very much, and thank you again for having me here. I definitely can hear you.
Okay. Of course, he celebrates the amazing and the only man who would be on the panel session today. He is the head of project management, midstream and downstream gas infrastructure of the NMDPRA. Welcome, engineer Hussein Basaka.
Thank you for the kind introduction. I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you.
Of course, not the last but not the least of the panelists. Of course, a senior reservoir engineer from Santos Limited, Australia. Welcome, engineer Chinenye Chuku Neke. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you very much, and I'm absolutely happy to be here. Thank you.
Of course, ladies and gentlemen, this panel session will be moderated by one of the finest we have in the speaking industry. Of course, she's a senior journalist with BBC Hausa, Madina Maishanu. Welcome, ma'am. Confirm you can hear me, moderator.
Thank you so much. Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Awesome. I'd like to also announce that, of course, this event was well packaged and planned by the chairman of Diversity and Inclusion D&I of SPE Abuja section. We celebrate engineer Farid Dan Ali, who is on the call. Confirm you can hear me, ma'am.
Yes, I can hear you, Akpan. Thank you.
Of course, we welcome all senior members of SPE Abuja on the call. Welcome all of the board members of SPE Abuja on the call. I'm going through okay, we have our programs chair on the call, Professor Kafayat Adeyemi. One welcome to you, ma'am. Confirm you can hear me, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, we also thank you so much, ma'am. Welcome all senior members, all amazing women on the call. Thank you for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, we switch gears immediately to listening to our leader, the man that is leading SPE Abuja, right? Of course, ladies and gentlemen, Engineer Ikechukwu Okafor, PhD, the section chairman. Sir, the virtual stage is yours for your opening remarks.
Thank you, Akpan. Please confirm you can hear me.
Loud and clear.
Okay. It's a pleasure, always a pleasure to be here when, especially when you have to speak, give the opening remark for a program like this. I'm a practical example of the theme of this program, because when you empower a woman, you empower a nation. And when you asked about who do you want to have a coffee chat with, well, I was sentimental. I wanted to have a coffee chat again with my mom. God bless her soul. And that's simple. It's simple. My mom was an example of resilience. She was an example of the belief that gender inequality should not exist. She would tell you as a story, as a thought, and as an idea that there's no limitation to what you can be. There's no limitation to where you can go. You just have to have your head in the right place and do what you ought to do. She was everything that made me see life and made my siblings see life differently. By the way, I'm the last among 5 elder sisters and an elder brother. So practically my life had been about, I've been pushed up to this way by the grace of women. And so today it's a pleasure to give the opening remark for the International Women's Day celebration of SPE Abuja. And I can't wait to listen to the amazing thoughts of the amazing women we have on the call, from our council chair to the keynote speaker to the leader of the team that put this program together, Farida Dan Ali. Amazing women we've had all along, and amazing women who had shown that it is not in the name of the gender, it is in the capacity, it is in the faith, it is in the belief, it is in the resilience to deliver against all odds. It is in the empowerment to make our nation a better place. And it is in the belief that, yes, we stand with our women today because together we can go places. Thank you and welcome to the IWD 2025 of SPE Abuja section. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Section Chair, for that inspiring, of course, inspiring opening remark. Of course, empower a woman, empower a nation. Ladies and gentlemen, we switch gears immediately, calling on the chairman of diversity and inclusion, of course, for her welcome remarks. Please help me welcome Farida Danali for her remarks. Farida, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Akpan. Good afternoon, SPE Nigerian Council Chair, Abuja Section Chair, board members, esteemed speakers, and participants. I am Farida Ali, the 2025 SPE Abuja International Women's Day Chairperson Planning Committee, and I welcome you all to today's program in commemoration of International Women's Day, which is celebrated globally. As we gather here, women around the world are rising and breaking barriers. They are scientists, engineers, entrepreneurs, and leaders driving innovation and progress in every field. But despite the progress we've made, women still face significant challenges. That's why this year's theme, Empower Her, Empower Humanity, resonates so deeply. We believe that by empowering women, we can accelerate action towards empowering families, communities, and societies, leading to a sustainable change. Today, we have the privilege of hearing from women who have pushed boundaries and achieved greatness in their respective fields. Our speakers are not only accomplished professionals, but also passionate advocates for women empowerment and diversity. We will explore ways to empower women in STEM fields, challenge us to think differently, to act boldly, and to work together to create a more inclusive and equitable industry. Let us begin this celebration with a renewed commitment to empowering women and girls everywhere around the world. Let us be inspired by our speakers' stories, and let's work together to accelerate action towards a brighter future for all. Thank you, everyone. Let's get started.
Let's get started. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ma'am, for that, of course, amazing, phenomenal address. Your Excellencies, very distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, of course, for the goodwill message, it's an absolute honor to introduce a woman of remarkable achievements, a trailblazer, and of course, a beacon of inspiration. She's a woman of many firsts, shattering barriers and redefining possibilities for women in the engineering and energy sector. A leading light for women in STEM, of course, she has not only paved the way for others, but continues to uplift and mentor the next generation of female professionals. Your Excellencies, very distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the Council Chairman of SPE Nigeria, Engineer Amina Danmadami, for her goodwill message. Engineer Amina, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Apan. Good afternoon, Your Excellency, Dr. Zainab Shinkafi Bagudu, distinguished panelists, Mrs. Ufondu, my boss, Engineer Basaka, and my very good friend, Engineer Chineye, and distinguished guests. It's a great honor to join you in celebrating International Women's Day, a day dedicated to recognizing the incredible contributions, resilience, and potential of women and girls around the world. This year's theme, Empower Her, Empower Humanity, is a powerful call to action. It reminds us that the fight for gender equality is not just for some, it's for every woman and girl in every community and in every part of the world. When we invest in women, we invest in stronger communities, innovative industries, and a better future for all. In the energy sector, empowering women means breaking barriers, creating opportunities, and fostering an environment where talent, not gender, defines success. To all the incredible women, your resilience, brilliance, and leadership inspire us. Let's continue to uplift one another, mentor the next generation, and advocate for an inclusive and equitable future. When we empower her, we empower humanity. Happy International Women's Day, and let's have a very interesting deliberation. Look forward to hearing the amazing speeches from the keynote speaker and the panelists. Thank you very much.
I think our council chair deserves some virtual round of applause. Like I said, I would like our chat to be very engaging. Ladies and gentlemen, please, can we give our council chair some virtual applause? And of course, if you picked some interesting lines from what she said, kindly drop them on the chat box. So those that are joining can also read and, of course, join in the moment. Thank you so much, council chair, once again, for that amazing, of course, goodwill message. Ladies and gentlemen, we switch gears right now to the keynote speech. Of course, if you can see your screen, you can see her profile. I had to shorten this profile. Is about 3 pages. She's a woman of capacity. Of course, I'm going to go through the profile. Of course, you can read along as I'm going to be reading it. Of course, Her Excellency Dr. Zainab Bagudu is a renowned pediatrician and, of course, a global health advocate and a champion for cancer control with a medical degree from Ahmadu Bello University and specialized training in pediatrics and neonatology in the United Kingdom. Dr. Bagadu has dedicated her career to improving healthcare across healthy access and outcomes, particularly for women and children. She is the founder of Medi-A Cancer Foundation, which has raised over $2.5 million to improve cancer awareness, prevention, and treatment in Nigeria. Her tireless efforts in health advocacy led to her election to the Union for International Cancer Control Board in 2018, where she has worked to introduce the single-dose HPV vaccine in Nigeria and strengthen national cancer control policies. Dr. Bagudu served as the First Lady of Kebbi State from 2015 to 2023, where she pioneered initiatives in girl-child education, women empowerment, and healthcare reforms, including the establishment of the Kebbi State Cancer Control Plan and Cancer Registry. She currently serves as Special Advisor to the Minister of Health on Women's Health and Cancer Advocacy in Nigeria. In 2023, Dr. Bagadu made history by becoming the first African president-elect of the UICC. I think she deserves some virtual applause. The world's largest cancer fighting organization, uniting over 1,100 institutions across 170 plus countries. This prestigious position underscores her commitment to global cancer control, policy advocacy, and healthcare transformation. Beyond her professional impact, she is a devoted grandmother and enjoys nature walks during her spare time. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Her Excellency Dr. Zainab Shinkafi Bagudu as she takes us on her keynote for the next 20 minutes. Hello, ma'am. The virtual stage is yours.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for the invitation to this wonderful organization of engineers. We are marking the International Women's Month. International Women's Day was a few days ago, and we continue to highlight and advocate for female empowerment and female-related issues. I've been asked to make a keynote speech. I don't have slides. I'm going to keep it casual and just try to speak to the theme using my own experiences in the professional world, a little bit of personal, and then wrap it up with some final points. The theme is Empower Her, Empower Humanity, and it speaks for itself, really. And there have been so many speakers, even in this webinar, that have mentioned the vital role that women play in society. I don't think there's any argument about that. The role that women play and the ability that they have to catalyze change when they get involved in development, either of the community, the state, at a national level. It's always a very, very catalytic role, and it encompasses not just one woman, but the family, the children. You spill that over into schools, entrepreneurship, professional careers, and so on. So that role is really well recognized, and it's why we continue to focus on the importance of enlightening and uplifting half of the world's population, which are women. Your Association of Engineers is one that is, I think, very important in as much as we have women in the profession. When we talk about STEM, which also includes engineering, it's one of the areas where I think from the beginning, girls tend to get marginalized. There are various barriers as well as social norms and misunderstandings that make it very difficult for girls to be in those areas. And for us to catalyze this change and to improve growth as we're talking, or as we keep wanting, we have to focus on that area first. The STEM, science and engineering, mathematics, medicine, they are very important areas in creating growth globally, not just of our nation. For a very long time, we as Africans have been left behind. And part of my own experience is not just, I started as the moderator kindly shared my profile. I went to school in Ahmadu Bello University, which is in Zaria, the northwestern part of Nigeria, was where I did my medicine. And I later on, again from the profile you heard, my husband was opportune to be the governor of Kebbi State, and I served in that supportive role to him for 8 years. And I can say with a lot of, without fearing any repercussions, and the same types of gender discriminations and barriers that I faced as an undergraduate were not too dissimilar, even as a first lady. So you can look at that wide amount of time, that elevation in status, that growth for me as a person, but I still had to deal with a lot of issues that are based on gender. Kebbi State, I'll jump forward a bit. I'll come back to the background a little bit later. Kebbi State was one of the states that had not passed the gender laws for a very long time. And it was a source of great worry for me and a source of concern. There are different arguments. It's already in our code and so on. Anyway, a long battle. The entire first term, 4 years, we were not able to do it. But luckily, we galvanized ourselves as women under the Nigerian Governors' Wives Forum, and we were able to table of course, COVID came, and there was a surge, an obvious surge in gender-based violence, and that gave us the voice to speak to that issue. And even in states like Kebbi, where it was a non-starter, or for 4 years, I had been battling to try to get it done, I was able to finally make progress. We worked with a team, a task force. We worked with the ulamas. We worked with the legislature. You know, there's one of our senators famously, it's online, you can Google it, said Kebbi will never pass those laws. This is somebody that is representing us in the Senate. At the time, he wasn't the governor, but he wrote it up and said it will never happen. So all thanks to God and thanks to dialogue, thanks to understanding from the leadership, both of the executive, the lawmakers, the civil society, were able to pass the laws and start the principles and also programs, lay platforms for institutions that were going to protect women's sexual rights. And I'm pleased that those are still ongoing. It's not ongoing because I helped to lay down the platform in such a fantastic way, but because the world simply is not accepting it any longer to say that, no, we will not have laws that protect the rights of women. Even when you use religion as an excuse or you bring religion into the matter, there's no religion that allows you to discriminate against women or that says women's rights shouldn't be protected. The way it is done might differ, but they are all very protective of the female race. So I think that the point in that is that we need to dialogue. We need to not be so much of an activist when we're doing things. I understand that a lot of, and thank you for marking the Women's Day. It's not so much what do you call it, an event or having these events, but it gives us the opportunity to drum the issues into areas that matter and to have all these conversations that is going to make it possible for something to move. It might be very little, but the needle will move a bit. So I was saying that I heard that a lot of young people this year were not going to mark Women's Day because of the regression. I would say that that is not an advisable thing to do or a path to go down. Yes, we're all activists and we all can protest for rights and so on, but to just simply not do it, I think it would take us back even further. If all these years when it wasn't being done, where were we? We were not able to really shout for 35% affirmation for women's position and so on. But now we are, and sometimes we get it, sometimes we don't. And the needle will continue to move like that. So it's important that we keep the conversation going and not let into that the pit of saying that, oh, we're not going to do it, we're just going to be activists and say it is wrong. So I wanted to go a little bit into my background as a health person, somebody that has been working in the health sector, and take you through our story and how the Medicaid story is an empowering one, not just of the woman, but of the communities. Without a doubt, what most people think about or when they see my work is the cancer that pops out. But the cancer actually came as a result of other needs that women had. As a pediatrician, I was seeing mothers with their children. As we all know, again, one of those stereotyped positions that women have is to take the child to the hospital. So I used to see a lot of mothers with their children, and they use the opportunity. In northern Nigeria, it's only natural that they will ask you personal things. It doesn't matter that you're a pediatrician and not a gynecologist, but they will use the opportunity to ask me questions about their child's health. And that was how, personal things, lump in my breast, abnormal bleeding, node in my armpits. That was how the cancer organization was birthed. And we started just by having our little gatherings, creating awareness, enlightening women about the signs and symptoms of breast and cervical cancer. And over the years, it has grown into various pillars, not just awareness and screening, education, but we also train community health workers. We train nurses. I mentor and sponsor young girls through nursing and midwifery careers. I think we have about 60 now. We just last week, we welcomed the new cohorts of 10. I take it in small numbers. Some people have said to me, oh, at your level, and that's another thing actually, while we're here, at your level, how can you be giving 10 forms? It's like, my level, what level? What level have you, how many nurses have you trained? If we have 10 nurses, and this is 10 more than we had in the past. So I think that don't belittle any effort. Don't think that it's not good enough. It is making an impact. The other thing is you are doing it of your own volition, and you want it to be sustained. Yes, as the First Lady of Kebbi State, I could have said, let's sponsor 500 and I will send a memo to Women Affairs and they will send it to His Excellency and they will pay. And then today what happens? I will have stopped the program, or it will have to be in another form. Or I'll drop it to 10 and then the reality sets in. I will be struggling to do the 10. But I have a budget in a way that I know that I can do this. And it's sustainable, sustainability to our programs, whether they're personal, whether they're professional as an organization, is very important if you want to have an empowering effect on your community. So the other aspect of keeping things in a sizable way that you can, you can deal with it is so that you can have a personal touch. It's not micromanaging, but in this case, I am trying to educate young girls from a background that is not as rich in resources, and I want them to remain in that community. I want them to grow, not just in their nursing skills and health skills, but in their thoughts and how they relate to the world, so that by the time they become nurses, I expect them to get married or even go back to their communities. They can handle a career in healthcare, in nursing, that is quite demanding. You can imagine your young northern girl going on night calls. People don't tell you when they're going to be sick. They're going to have illnesses, births in the middle of the night, and that is the life of a nurse. If they don't know how to balance that aspect in their lives, it's going to be a failure. they will go to school, they will be educated, and we're not going to, or, you know, but not all of them will end up seeing the career through. So what I'm saying is I mentor them. I can handle 10 at a time, and I take that 10 at a time. In future, I don't know if it will get more or less. It's not just the financial aspects. There's also the supportive role that we play. I have a team, and by the way, these girls are in Kebbi. We use the Kebbi School of Nursing, College of Nursing, sorry, and we take girls, the forms when they go out, we open it up to the whole area, Sokoto, Zamfara, Kebbi. And you know, they do well. They have been doing very well. And we've just taken the new cohorts last week. So how did I get into the nursing story? We were talking about Medicaid. We're going to talk about Medicaid. Okay, so looking out for women, and that's how the Medicaid journey started. Now we work not just in awareness and education, we also do fundraising. Maybe some of you have been to our walk in October. If you haven't been, I encourage you to. It's a walk that not just speaks to awareness and education, but it's also a very huge networking opportunity. It's a fundraiser where we raise funds for cancer patients. It's not so much the funds for the treatment that comes from that walk, but it gives us the visibility, it gives us the platform, and it gives us the, you know, the credibility for other funders to come on board. So we are able to show that, yes, these are the people that we have supported in the last 1 year. This is the amount of funding that we got. Many people are very interested, but they don't work to the basic rules of having an organization, having a proper work plan, and really going through due diligence. I'm sure that you as engineers can understand what that entails and why it is very important. So when you see young people trying to have a foundation, every other person has a foundation now. But what are they registered? What are the laws what are their aims really? What are their goals? How are they going about it? What fundraising mechanisms do they have in place? These are questions that we should always ask because even now with Ramadan, you see a lot of people going on the social media, they approach you. It's a season for charity, and give the charity that you have. You don't need to, if you don't have a means of pooling your funds, yes, you can ask different people too, but if you don't have a clear way and clear funders, then it's not really advisable that you just go asking everybody for funding without a plan in the background. So it might trigger some to give. I think that's good, but we should always try to have our foundations, our plans, and our goals and aspirations. And that applies not just to work, but to our personal selves. So when the Medicaid Foundation reaches one stage, we grow to the next stage. Sometimes it's not easy. We have been through a lot. We're about 18 years now, and but we have been able to keep it up sustainably. In Kebbi, I had a lot of backlash about the foundation, but just by God's glory, by the support of my husband, and a very, very thick skin, which is something that women must always have. We're emotional by nature, and sometimes with that emotion drives our decisions. But if you step back in your moments, then you will think about it, try to think about it more rationally, and think about how can I do this better in a way that will improve the outcome and allow me to achieve what I want. So when the backlash in Kebbi and beyond started, we didn't give up, we continued. There's a feeling that, oh, First Lady's projects are funded solely by the government. But even if you have started, in our case, we had started before, and I think that made us different. It was an existing organization that I felt that as given a political platform I should use it to impact on the lives of the people. And we did. Through the Medicaid Foundation, Kebbi State was able to have the first cancer registry, a cancer control plan for the state. Some of it was funded while we were there. There are very few states that have a plan to fund their cancer control. And then so many other things, a treatment fund, screening centers, treatment centers, they're all still in existence, strengthening the laboratory capacity to diagnose cancers and so on and so forth. So all these things are small things that add up to build and solidify the system. Again, part of the backlash was, oh, look at Kano, they have a big cancer center. You just talk, we don't have a cancer center. So I have my reasons for that. And I would ask you also to look at Kano and look at how many patients they have treated. And this is a state that is as big and has the resources and the internally generated revenue that Kano State does compared to one like Kebbi. So it was a journey, but we made it through, navigated it, and we're out of it now. And I'm able to continue my life on a different level. I'm able to do things with more confidence and drive without that feeling that I have to do it, because no matter what you do and however thick your skin are or how supportive your spouse is, there's still some things that you have to conform. And that's why in the beginning, if you recall, I said we shouldn't be too activist in our thinking, just conform to an extent. And I'm going to end now by talking about the topic of the moment that most young people, or most women, I would say, are talking about, and that is Natasha Akpoti. She's a woman like all of us that has come out to be very vocal. And in our own opinion, there are some, people have different opinions. Some people feel that she's right. Some people feel that she's wrong. But we're talking on International Women's Day. We're talking about sexual allegations. We're talking about one of the highest offices in our country, in our nation. And we're talking about something that can affect, an institution. In any other country, it would have had a really, really far-reaching effect. But because of the way our norms and our values and our culture is, it's a bit more, should I say, discriminatory towards such accusations. I'm not holding brief for her, and I want to send my message using her because it's a very topical issue and everybody has their own view. But what I want to say and drive the message is have a way of delivering your message. It's not so much the message, but the way you deliver it that can either make it or kill it. Your aims and your goals, and this work plan that I keep talking about, it exists in so many aspects. Whatever Natasha's plan was, the delivery has caused the controversy that is almost overshadowing the issue at hand. And right now, I think we have even stopped caring so much about it. And what have we achieved? I think that as women, we should have our ways of delivering messages because we are the sex that is discriminated against. When I went to medical school, it's not every patient I can examine. Not because, even as a young doctor in Zaria, not because I didn't have the skills or I didn't know what to do, but simply because I'm a woman and Baba is not going to allow me to touch him. How dare you examine my prostate? How is he going to drop his pants for me to examine his prostate? So I have to engage male nurses to come and do it with me. My examiner is coming in 10 minutes and he's going to ask me what you found. And he's not going to listen to me that, oh, he didn't allow me examine him. Oh, you didn't examine your patient? Very good. Fail. And you come back and you keep on trying your luck until the day you get a patient that allows you to examine him. How is that going to work? So we devise ways to send our message and to achieve our goal ultimately. And we should always do that in whatever we're doing. Have a plan. stick to your plan. Have 1, 2, 3 ways in which you're going to go about it to reach that ultimate goal that you're trying to achieve. Because we are already discriminated against, because we are the gender that, you know, not everybody understands, we have to work that much harder at all times. And maybe to even our male counterparts, please look at things from a gender lens. You could see it as, oh, this toilet is good, but for a woman, the position might be odd. It could be just the door where it's facing, and she's going to come to have to walk through a whole row of men. And for that reason, she will not change her sanitary pad. And since she knows that the toilet in the school is in one funny area that she has to walk through, or the window faces the Baba's BQ's house, she will eventually not want to go to school on the days that she has her period. And what happens, her grades will drop, and she will find it, you know, difficult to keep up, and eventually she drops out. This is the typical story of period poverty and how so many girls are missing out on an education. So we need to always view things from a gender perspective, from a gender lens, whether it is in our immediate community, in our families, in our workplaces. It really, really unburdens us, and it helps us a lot. So I think that was my final take, and we have to continue to work together to really break those barriers, those biases, social norms, and misconceptions that women face, especially in Africa and other low middle income countries. As we continue to grow, as we continue to be engineers and doctors and scientists and go to the moon and the space and all that, we will become more empowered, not just in our knowledge, but in our financial capacity, and we'll be able to make those choices that we need to make to truly break the barriers. It's a very inspirational time. Sometimes it sounds like you're just motivating and so on, but if you look at the actual figures and where we are, we have done well. We've done quite well. Everybody says I'm the first African to be elected to the Union for International Cancer Control. It's a 90-year-old, 91-year-old organization. I never had an African, but they leave out the part that she's an African woman. So I think we did well there. And I think that we need to continue to aspire to really make the change that we need to grow. So thank you for the invitation, Farida. Is she my daughter or my no, she's my daughter. Yes, Farida, my daughter, thank you for the invitation, President, and everybody here. I really admire what you're doing, and I urge that you continue to bring the younger ones on board. Let them see and let them understand what a career as a female in engineering entails, and we can really encourage them to join. We do the same thing in medicine, and I know that you'll be doing the same thing as well. Thank you for listening. How many minutes did I spend?
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, we gave you 20 minutes, but you were enjoying it. We would have even given you even an hour to keep speaking. Can we give her some virtual applause? I can see all of the charts, please. Oh, familiar wisdom is profitable to direct. Great lesson. Professor Kafaya, it's so inspiring. Thank you so much, ma'am. I mean, that inspiring. Thank you for the positive message, ma'am. Amazing, ma'am. This has changed a lot of hearts. And just in case you were on WhatsApp when she was speaking, I'm going to give you some key takeaways from what she said. First, she said, women are catalysts for change. Women are catalysts for change. Of course, you must have the right tools to be that change. She said she faced these challenges when she was a student in Ahmadu Bello University, and of course, the same challenge she faced it when she became the first lady. So, of course, some things don't just expire. We have to keep fighting, keep pushing. She also had mentioned that as a first lady, she made sure she helped to pass some laws protecting women's sexual abuse. Thank you so much, ma'am, for that. And of course, may you keep being blessed. Of course, she also said that she also gave us a reality check. Advocacy is about moving the needle, not setting the whole sewing machine on fire. move the needle every time. Of course, she reminded us about her importance, of course, the importance of cervical cancer advocacy. And of course, we advise that you prioritize your health. And of course, the final and the major takeaway: view things through a gender lens. View things through a gender lens. Thank you so much, ma'am, for that amazing keynote address. And of course, we celebrate you. Ma'am, can I also ask, can I be your son? Farida is your daughter. Can I also be your son? Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Kasuchi, anything you want to say? I can see your video is on, ma'am.
Yes,
Yeah, so in fact, I'm jealous of Farida, but I want to be her younger sister. Fatima is my very good friend, and me and her.
Okay. No, Team Fatima.
That I'm the
no,
original
younger
sister, and
sisters
she's
are
the
not
fake one.
I'll stick with Farida.
Thank you very much, Ma,
Congratulations.
for this
Well
very
done.
positive message. I always like to hear positivity. You know, we can do it, and the needle is moving, albeit slowly, but it's moving, and that's what's important. And thank you for the amazing work you're doing in cancer, in the cancer space, the women's space, and all of that. You're really an inspiration for all of us, and keep at it. We're all looking up to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your kind words. So I'll
Thank
stick
you, ma'am.
around till the end.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, you can see the energy is already flying over the roof. We switch gears immediately to the panel session. Of course, the beautiful senior journalist at BBC Hausa will be handling this session for 30 minutes. Of course, her profile is on the screen. Madina is a senior journalist and a social media intern lead at BBC Hausa, where she drives impactful storytelling and digital engagement. She is also the anchor of Mahanga Zamani, a show dedicated to addressing societal issues affecting youth and women. With a deep passion for women's and child advocacy, Medina has built an impressive career, including her time as an international broadcaster at Voice of America, where she highlighted youth and gender-focused stories. Her dedication to journalism has earned her prestigious recognitions, including the BBC's Rising Star of the Year Award 2024 and a finalist position at the Save the Children Global Media Awards 2024, of course, for her outstanding work in child rights. Please help join me in welcoming our esteemed moderator, Medina Maishanu. Medina, the stage is yours for 40 minutes, ma'am.
Hello, thank you so much. It's an honor to be the moderator. Can you see me? Sorry, my camera is a bit bad. Can you see me?
Of course.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. It's an absolute honor to moderate this panel. Let me start by introducing our panelists for the day. So first and foremost, we have Mrs. Ejiro Daisy Ufundo. She's a renowned HSEC expert who has earned 3 decades of experience in upstream, midstream, and downstream sectors of the Nigerian oil and gas industry. She's a seasoned HSE pedigree and well-respected in the industry. He has excellently held leadership positions across several branches of the HSE department, both in operations and policies, making in the defunct Department of Petroleum Resources, DPR, and she's currently the director and host community of the HSEC department at NUPRC. She is a brilliant alumni of the University of Benin and an active member of the Women in Management, Business and Public Service, and Women in Energy. Her strong analytical and collaborative skills has enabled steers in the environmental policy formulations and coordination of the NUPRC upon the passage of the PIA. She's also responsible for the NUPRC implementation strategies of the host community development regulations in line with PIA. So welcome today here, ma'am. Can you respond so that I'm sure you can hear me?
Good
Mrs.
afternoon,
Ejiro, are you with
everyone.
us?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay,
Thanks
thank
for
you so
having
much.
me here
It's
today.
an honor to have you here. Yeah. Then second on our list today, we have the only man amongst us, the only man on the panel, He is Dr. Engineer Husseini Basaka, and he's currently the Deputy Director of Project Management at the Midstream and Downstream Gas Infrastructure Fund and Directorate of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA. He currently focuses on providing strategic direction, oversight, and decision-making authority to ensure that the project scope, schedule, cost, and budget are well defined and aligned with the expectations of the MDGIF and effectively managed throughout the project lifecycle. He is formerly the head of Engineering and Standards Department of the Hydrocarbon Processing Plants, Installations and Transportation Infrastructures at the Directorate of the NMDPRA, with focus on statutory oversight on midstream and downstream assets engineering design. That also focuses on processing plants, corrective action tracking, technology adaptation, assets decarbonization, and value benchmarking. Prior to joining the NMDPRA, he worked with the defunct Department of Petroleum Resources, DPR, from 2003 to 2022, with training secondment to the then Albert Garodi Associates AGA engineers, now acquired by the HFG Engineering at Metairie, Louisiana, USA from 2005 and 2006. And the last person I would introduce today is, one second, is Engineer Chinenye Clara Chukuneka. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Chukuneke. Sorry, before we move forward, Dr. Husseini, can you respond? I just want to make sure that you can hear me.
So thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to be one of the panelists. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you so much. Okay, so now next is Engineer Chinenye Clara Chukuneke. She's a senior engineer at Santos Limited. She's a chartered petroleum engineer with over 20 years of experience across Australia, Europe, and Africa. Before joining Santos Limited, a leading energy company in Australia, Chinenye played a pivotal role in developing and advancing deepwater oil and gas fields at Shell Exploration and Production Company and South Atlantic Petroleum Limited, Total Energies. She's currently serving as a senior engineer at Santos Limited. She specializes in the safe and efficient delivery of clean energy from unconventional coal, steam, gas assets, CSG. Her expertise continues to accelerate the development of future assets, ensuring sustainable production. Chinenye holds a master's degree in petroleum engineering from the Norwegian University of Science and Technology. She's passionate about human development, and she firmly believes that with the right mentorship, everyone has the potential to excel. This commitment drives her active volunteer work with the SPE Nigeria Council and her dedication to mentoring primary school children, understanding that catching them young helps instill motivation and focus. She's particularly involved with Isobright Schools in Festac Town. She's a member of the Engineers Australia, EA, a registered professional engineer Queensland, RPEQ, and a member of the Society of Petroleum Engineers in Nigeria. Chinenye remains deeply engaged in her profession, and finally, beyond her career, she's a proud wife and mother. Her first child recently graduated with first-class honors in mechatronic engineering, while her second and third children are also pursuing engineering. Meanwhile, her youngest, currently in grade 5, has humorously sworn off engineering after watching Deepwater Horizon in 2022. Welcome, Engineer Chinenye.
Thank you very much. I'm really glad to be here. And thank you to the council chair, to the section chair, and to Farid as well for having me. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. So just to mention that this panel session is going to last for 30 minutes. And after that 30 minutes, the audience is going to get a chance to ask questions directed at the panelists, and that's going to last for 10 minutes. So I'm going to start with Ms. Ejiro, since I introduced you first. we are talking about implementing measurable targets and accountability for equity. So what legislative or regulatory changes are being considered to promote gender equality in the energy industry? Are there any specific measurable targets? Ms. Ejiro, are you with us?
Yes, I just unmuted myself. Once again, thank you so much for SPE for having me here again. To answer your question, do we have specifics? No. So 2 years ago, was it? A little over a year ago, I think it's less than 2 years ago, we all saw the drama that played out at the National Assembly when a particular bill was thrown out. I don't know how much progress we have made with that. And of course, I don't want to get into the conversation. Her Excellency mentioned the recent drama at the upper house, recently involving a female senator. I also don't want to get into that. So I work at NUPRC and I lead the team that is more than 60% female. It's a very, very unique team. So the HostCom team right now, we are actually 67% female. How we got here, honestly, I don't have any idea, but it feels very good to be able to lead a team that's predominantly female. So that's a good thing. And our team is a very efficient team here at NUPRC. When we were drafting the regulations, we have what we call the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Host Communities Development Regulations. The regulations were launched in 2022. So when we launched the regulation, we had a lot of stakeholder engagements in the industry. And part of it was the advocacy to put in a clause for inclusion of women. It wasn't just women and persons with disabilities. Okay, so we drove that. So we have Regulation 12 of this regulation I'm talking about, talks about giving consideration to diversity. That was the word that we used, consideration to diversity. And by diversity, we mean women and persons with disabilities. So we already have that provision. It is an existing provision in the regulation as we speak. So that's if I'm not mistaken, that's the only regulation that actually makes any kind of reference to women in any form in terms of diversity. Then
do you think it's being applied the way it should be applied?
Okay, so the law gives the right to choose the membership of the Board of Trustees and the Management Committee and the Advisory Committee of the Host Community Development Trust. That power is with the communities. Yes, some communities have grabbed the bull by the horns. We have some trusts that are chaired by women. The 2 trusts in Akwa Ibom, for example, they are chaired by women. We have some trusts in Delta, they are chaired by, so some of the trusts are actually chaired by women. And those that are not chaired by women, yes, the participation of women in the Host Community Development Trust regime, it's impressive. There are those that are chaired by women. And of course, there are trusts that have no women. I also have to say that. But that decision actually rests with the community. So what we see is that the communities that are more enlightened, that are the ones that are embracing women, really, but the decision by law rests with the communities, and some of the communities are taking the right decisions in the right direction, yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Mrs. Ejiro. Now on to Engineer Hussaini Basaka. Are you with us, Engineer Hussaini?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes. We all know that in many sectors, not only in Nigeria, in different countries, it's kind of hard to get that gender inclusivity. So now from education to executive leadership, so as an industry expert, what programs do you think should be put in place to support women's career advancement, especially in traditionally male-dominated industries like petroleum engineering?
So thank you for the question. I have to start by saying that over the course of my career, I've worked with a lot of women, some my superiors, some my subordinates, and I've seen the sort of value they bring to the table, immense value they bring to the industry. However, more can be done to bring in more women, to increase the proportion of women providing this value or enhancing this particular value. The key issue here is the misconception of deploying women to services sectors or units of the oil and gas industry, human resources, supply services, instead of embedding women into the core of operations. So what needs to happen and has to continue to happen is deploying women in core operations, from seismic acquisition, design and development of production and processing facilities, hardcore operations, performance and inspections, tests, and all sorts of verifications. These are necessary to throw women into the light, to make women have access to leading different teams. But that can only work if, as they grow along their career, they are given the supportive leadership opportunities where they are given teams to lead and they will be held accountable or responsible for the outcome of that particular team. It is not about putting women in teams to be able to dilute the composition. No, it's about extracting value from women. This requires regular check-ins from managers, finding out what are their needs, and foster communication, two-way communication, to be able to hold their hands and get them across the line. This is very, very critical. And then very importantly, with respect to mentorship, a lot of women are constrained or restricted to their cultural backgrounds and do not know how to reach out to mentors. So organizations should deliberately have a structured mentorship program whereby mentees and mentors will be matched together. This provides opportunity also for networking, opportunity for them for flexible working hours, so that caregiving mothers can also participate in this mentorship program. These are very, very critical things that need to actually be done to make it actually work. This deliberate mentorship program is an opportunity also to introduce women, young engineers to the industry through conferences. They can meet the other peers, get to meet other mentors, and of course, industry leaders. So these are critical things that have to happen to make it work. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Engineer Hussaini, for your very valuable points. Now, back to Engineer Chinenye. Are you with us, Engineer Chinenye?
Yes, I am. I can hear you.
Okay. One of the things that we know that the sector lacks is funding and support for female-led initiatives. So how are you personally working to change the cultural narrative around women in STEM and challenge gender stereotypes?
Yeah, thank you for that question. One of the things I believe in is that everybody can make it. We have these stereotypes where people think that, okay, if you're a female, you shouldn't do very strenuous work, you shouldn't do very strenuous studies, and the story is being propagated, right? I actually experienced that. Like when it was time for me to choose whether to go to the arts world or to go to the science world, I actually knew I wanted to do a lot. I knew I wanted to be a scientist, but everybody around was just saying, oh, it's so difficult. Do you want to do? In fact, I overheard two senior students talking about, discussing about physics and making it look like people that want to study physics are mad people, and I naturally got scared, and when I got home, I was really worried. I talked to my mom and I told her that, like, I really want to be a scientist, but I wasn't sure I'll be able to do it, because it was going to be too difficult and all that. And bless her soul, she told me no, that she thinks I know maths, that she thinks I can understand maths very well, and that the world is going towards science already. By the way, she was a beautician, she had a hairdressing salon, and most of her clients were teachers. So they used to, discuss about sciences and all that. And, at that time, she told me that, the way to go was science. And that encouraged me to go ahead to read, sciences. And I know that that problem is still very prevalent. I mean, some of my classmates, one of my classmates in particular, kept on moving from arts to science class because she was confused. Because she would go to science class, and as she's trying to understand, the people in art will be telling her, "Oh, it's so difficult. Do you really want to do that?" So one of the things that I've decided to do, because I know that anybody can make it. I don't even believe that there are people that are intelligent, or there are people that are good in maths, or people that are not good in maths. It's all about stereotypes and all about stories that are being told. So one thing that I'm doing, that I've already started doing, is to start from the grassroots. Because if we leave it till when girls even get to university, trust me, it's already too late. So going to the grassroots, going to primary schools to talk about, tell them about STEM, tell them about science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, make them understand that, it's something they can do, it's something they can appreciate. It's just like mother tongue, for example. There are people that speak their mother tongue without, batting an eyelid, without, like very easily. Something as mundane as mother tongue, there are people that cannot, maybe because of their circumstances, maybe intertribal marriages and all that, and they can't. And I've met people like that, and I know how really they want to and how difficult it is. Same as STEM. If we start early and the children get used to it, then it becomes normal. Nobody can, come at any point in time to dissuade them or discourage them. Another thing that we can actually do is to, one thing that SPE does already is the Energy for Me, which I also got some people to talk to these kids about engineering, about STEM, and you see them already starting to enjoy it. And of course, when we invite people, we tend to bring females so that they would already start seeing that this is possible. So from the primary level, you start building up. Another thing is to get industry people to come to school to, even if it's for an hour, talk about what they do. I know they do it in some climes where parents can go to school and talk about what they do, motivate the children and all that. That really helps to break some kind of stereotypes, especially when you kind of tailor it for women to come to do that. Also fostering network mentorship for now moving from the primary school to girls in secondary school. Once they get into GS1, GS2, you start telling them that, they can do this, they can be whatever they want to be, they can achieve it. And that actually starts, building their confidence. And like I've seen a lot of cases, I'll tell you a story. There's this young girl that was, very good in mathematics while she was in primary school. She was even representing her school in mathematics competitions and all that. But when it was time to get into the course that she wanted to do, in fact, she came to my house to pick up some books when my kids had already relocated. And I naturally thought she was going to do sciences and all that. So I just told her, oh, go and get the books upstairs. And, she came down and said, oh, she couldn't find the books she needed. And I was like, no, there are chemistry books, there are physics and all that. And she said, no, she was reading art. Of course, the shock on my face actually made her burst into tears. And when I interviewed her, she said her friends in school told her that, oh, that blood was not good. She doesn't like blood. And because of that, she deviated from what she wanted to be, So I started talking to her. And of course, it was already a little bit late because she was already in SS2 going to SS3. And, she was actually finding it very difficult to understand literature and all that, but because of phobia of what people had told her, she was struggling. She knew she wanted to be a scientist, but she was already in the art class doing what she doesn't even, or what she didn't even understand. But luckily, after she graduated from secondary school, she had to go back again to do WAEC and all that. And today she's actually a physiotherapist. So we just have to continue, working, talking, mentoring, talking to girls, breaking the stereotypes, bringing in professionals that are females that are in their fields, bringing in pilot like this school that I, work with. I brought in a pilot to talk to them, and you see how very motivated the girls are. Another thing we can do again is reframing social media and cultural representations. So when we want to portray engineers or people in STEM, we can actually use females to, do the talking, to portray such professions. That way, they can actually start understanding that they can do this, because it's all about
Thank you.
breaking the phobia and all that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Engineer Chinenye. And that's some very important work you're doing. And I personally understand that shaping their foundations when they are young is super important. It makes all the difference. So well done. So I think it's time for me to bring on Your Excellency Zainab Shinkafi Bagudu back to the floor. Your Excellency, can you join us for this panel, please? Is Dr. Zainab with us? Okay, I think she is not close to her device. So let's just move on. But if you can hear us, can you please join us for this panel? We'd love to ask you a few questions. Let me come back to you, Mrs. Ejiro. What mentorship and networking opportunities would you recommend to women in STEM, particularly those in the early stages of their careers? Because you just, Engineer Chinenye just mentioned how important it is to catch them while they're young. So what mentorship and networking opportunities would you recommend, Mrs. Ejiro?
Thank you. Thank you for the question. Thankfully for me, I work in an organization that's always supported women and has.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was on another mission. Hello, Medina. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Your Excellency, Dr. Zainab. Welcome back. Nice to see you again. I wanted you to join this panel because I have a few questions I would like you to answer. But I had already asked Ms. Ejiro a question, so maybe when she's done answering, then I'll come back to you.
I missed it, but I'm sorry. I was trying to get.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Thank you, Ms. Ejiro. Please continue.
Good to have you back. So I was saying that thankfully I work for an organization that's always supported women from TPR days. NUPRC is very gender friendly. I don't have the figures as to a percentage in the organization, but I can tell you boldly as we speak, we have 4 female directors at NUPRC right now as it is. The networking opportunities, SPE is it's one very good opportunity. I joined SPE like 25 or 24 years ago, thereabout in Houston. That's a good place to start. And the platform we are having this conversation on is SPE, the Abuja chapter. So that's a very good place to start. So we should encourage all the ladies in our respective organizations to join. It goes a very long way. So we have SPE, we have other professional organizations that they should join. It gives a very good opportunity. All these organizations have mentorship programs. SPE has, the NSE has, all of them they have. So that's a good place to have. The second one is there are a lot of industry events that take place in a year. So many industry events. We should encourage them in our respective organizations to attend. There are those that we can help through well-structured mentorship programs in our respective organizations, but there are those that will form the right kind of connections and networks on their own when they attend such industry events. Not necessarily when we are there, to lead them, and on their own, if we give them such opportunities, they will do that. So when those of us who are in positions to approve certain things for staff, let's make a conscious effort to be sure that we are steering the younger generation, giving them opportunities for network to form the right connections, the right networks, and the right mentorship and guidance programs. The third one would be female associations. There are a lot of female associations, female engineers, women in energy, and oil and gas, women in SPE, women in, there are so many women organizations. So from when they join our respective organizations, let's support them, let's give them, it's different when they do it on their own. There are those who have the drive, they have the energy on their own to do those things by themselves. But it is stronger when the organization has a policy, the organization has a drive to ensure that the females in the organization have a well-structured mentorship program. So with these three opportunities, yeah, we'll be able to give opportunities for mentorship in different organizations and in the industry as a whole. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Mrs. Ejiro, and I hope the young engineers on this call are taking notes of everything she just said and all the other panelists. So back to you, Dr. Zainab Shinkafi Bagudu. Are you with us?
I missed it. Yes, I'm with you, but I missed what you said
Okay.
at the beginning.
No problem. I'm going to repeat it. Welcome back. I know that you are always advocating for women empowerment. You always say, empower her, empower humanity. So seeing how important it is to empower a woman, what role do you think the government can play in holding organizations and industries accountable for their commitments to gender parity?
Okay, so really about policy, about government. I think that the role that the government plays is very critical, and there is no way we can achieve the parity and balance that we require and crave for without government support. The leadership role of government is by the example of offering equal opportunities and equal employment slots, especially to the women who may not be as many in number as their male counterparts for that position. But there needs to be a conscious effort by governments and policymakers to always ensure there is inclusion of women in most of the government employments. Also, when you go further back to the educational sector, again, providing a female-friendly learning environment through the earlier years, through university, postgraduate is very, very important. I gave some examples of that in my speech, and the critical role that government plays in provision of education. It's not just about providing education, but also making sure that it balances and it's not just for a male dominated area. For instance, the petroleum engineers, I think that you guys face a double bias, or rather double asset. Let's not think of it as a bias. You're female in two industries that are male dominated, the petroleum industry as well as the engineering profession. So you need to, I guess government needs to be more supportive of consciously, and employers making them have the right laws that they allow them to go ahead in their careers as much as the male counterparts as well. So a lot of focus on government funding female-led initiatives, of which there are many, but we don't often know about them. There are many good programs, either in homegrown or donor-led, that help women and are specifically targeted at women. They all have gender components. The World Bank always has a program in Nigeria that is female-focused in education, in health, all of them. So we need to talk more about them and let people that are concerned with it know about the programs that exist within the governmental space.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. I'm going to come back to you in a bit. Back to Engineer Hussaini. Dr. Zainab just spoke a lot right now and in her previous speech about fostering an environment where women can thrive, whether at schools or at their various workplaces. So how do you think, in your own view, we can foster a workplace culture that supports work-life balance and addresses the unique challenges faced by women in the energy sector, just like she just rightfully mentioned?
Thank you. Traditionally, the easiest answers are to support, encourage, and institutionalize the remote work, where women, especially caregiving mothers, will have opportunities to spend the same number of hours like their counterparts in the office when the need does arise. These flexible working hours does not take away the value that will be brought to the table by women. To make it very, very clear, outcome-based assessments are supposed to be way forward, not the number of hours you spend physically in the office. When you hand over responsibility to persons or to women and they get it done, it doesn't matter how many hours they spend in the office, it doesn't matter what are their other commitments, as long as they get it done. So it must be outcome-based. But very importantly, I think emphasis should now be placed on wellness, whereby because of the complexity of the world today, all the time we're hearing of the volatility, the complexity, uncertainties, ambiguity. Because of that, there's a lot of stress on people. So because of that, a lot of wellness programs and access to mental health resources be made available to everybody to be able to get people across the line. Beyond that, fitness programs have to come in there, because I believe at the heart of success is wellness. So when you embed fitness programs into your working modus operandi, then you will obviously get it there. There's this typical talk about family leave. We all believe and know that whenever a man, a woman, and the family go and reinvigorate themselves and come back, they get it done better. Women should even have it twice that of men, not because they are lesser, but because they provide additional value that men do not bring with respect to collaboration and decision making. Men could be brash and rash, but women take their time, put it together, and come up with much more reasonable outcomes. That's the reason why such opportunities should be given. Beyond wellness programs, hybrid working models should also be encouraged, whereby you spend a portion of your time doing physical work in the office and another portion remotely somewhere. This will take us somewhere. And I want to take an example from Microsoft Corporation, where they have resource group, employee resource groups, whereby they pit colleagues or peers in groups, whereby they share resources and share experiences and advise each other. This has worked very, very well for Microsoft. And I believe in the oil and gas industry, especially in Nigeria, that is going to work. This gives everybody opportunity to resources, gives everybody opportunity to access and information to get the job done. So work-life balance, that can happen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Engineer Hussein, for those very, very important points. Now, before I go back to Dr. Zainab, I would like to finally ask Engineer Chinenye, how do you think organizations raise the visibility of women's contributions to the energy sector and promote their achievements?
Thank you. Thank you for that question. So there are so many things that organizations can do. One thing that they can do is, in their newsletters, it's good to promote women that have, really contributed a lot. That would give visibility to everyone. Another thing that they can do is to create mentorship and networking opportunities, just like Mrs. Ofondo mentioned, where like the younger ones can be mentored by the older ones, like have, a mentorship path for them to take. Another thing is increasing representation in leadership. Something that Her Excellency Dr. Zainab said actually struck me, like when she goes to examine somebody and the man says no, then she has to devise the means to do that. I believe that if a woman were to be on that board, she would have to like come up with better strategies to handle that, because for crying out loud, it's not her fault that the person doesn't want to be examined, but you can see that they already believe that she has to look for a way to do that. Having women in such leadership would have been able to, like, come up with better ways to, do that. Maybe start mentoring the men as well, that the women are just here to help. You can allow her examine you. And I believe that everybody can actually be mentored, but I feel that because on that board there wasn't any woman, she just had to devise something. So having women on leadership board can actually change a whole lot of things. And organizing conferences, panels, and public speaking engagements. There was something they did here recently that I really liked. So organization like DPR, I'm talking to Mrs. Ofondo and Dr. Amina as well, can do that. So they went to different companies to tell them that they really needed to see women that had done some very, very, that had done a lot, very strategic, achievements. And those women were nominated. And there was a conference that was actually held in International Women's Day last year. So they brought in the women. Of course, they got some companies to sponsor them. You can get, the producing companies to sponsor them. And, the event was really very good, where everything that the women had done were played on the screen. The women talked and they were recognized. And in the audience, they had even secondary school girls were there, industry people were there. I was also there. I was invited, my company, So that was a lot of exposure to what women can do. So I think it's something that we can actually replicate here. Then promoting inclusive workplaces as well and policies would also help. Like, I know Shell used to do that. They had this creche where you can, once you have your baby, you can bring your baby to the creche. The creche was being paid for by the company. So that kind of also encouraged women industry. And also leveraging on
Thank you so
media,
much,
like what we're
Engineer.
doing is, thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much for those valuable points. We're running out of time. Before we go back to Dr. Zainab Shinkafi, I'd like to let the audience know that after her question, we have a 10-minute session where you could drop your question. So you could start dropping your questions before Dr. Zainab answers her final question so that we could round up, because time is against us. Your Excellency, back to you. Are you with us?
I am. I'm with you.
Yes. As a role model to many young girls out there and even the young boys out there, how can support groups like your NGO help women overcome the challenges of balancing career and family responsibilities?
Okay, so yes, thank you for the question. It's one that it's really a responsibility of all of us. It's not about whether you have an NGO or not. I made reference to the kind of supportive and mentorship roles that we have. And we your colleague, the office of the school, who is going through some patchy times, or to even, just take a minute out to understand the plight she's going through, making workplace more conducive for the issues that I seem to be nagging on this a lot today, about the things about like having conveniences in the right places for women and men, so that they can have their own space to do their thing. Having, things like creches. I know more and more organizations are catching up to that now. It's all about supporting the female in the organization. So what we do to balance, we do all these and more within our own workspace. But for others, particularly those that are going through the mental health rigors of having a cancer diagnosis, treatment, and even life after, as well as the family, is we have a proper program with professionals that are trained, therapists that are trained in this supportive role to walk them through the journey. It's a very complex thing, and we tend to underestimate the psychological effect of chronic illnesses in Africa because we are, surrounded by such a large support network. It doesn't take away that individual's need for support. So we support in different ways. Mentally, they take them through therapy sessions. We have a phone call, the One Call Away program, where you can call and talk to somebody, book a call. We have gatherings where we do the support network meeting. I chair different organizations within Abuja and Nigeria where we have a patient support. They're patient support organizations, and it's all about just giving them listening air. They need to have that air, and then you can do something to intervene in their problem. In our case, it's a health problem, it's cancer, and the 90% the problems that we face is funding. So we have to work with the government and the funders on how we can improve access to care for cancer patients in different ways. It's not about giving them money on the table. It's about providing the right equipment in our teaching hospitals, having the right people to man the machines, having the right person trained to know the right dosage that each tumor needs, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of work that goes into building a resilient health system, but we do a lot of high-level policy advocacy to try and get these things done. And it's another huge opportunity that the UICC role gives me. I'm able to speak to people at different levels of the entire cancer continuum and help to build those partnerships that will progress oncology care in LMICs. So supporting them and really walking the journey with them, very important, but also trying to make an effort in providing what they need as an organization.
All right, thank you so much, Your Excellency. And this brings us to the end of today's panel session. Thank you so much to all our panelists for being here, for giving us your insights and such amazing answers to all the questions. Thank you so much. It seems like we don't have any questions from the audience. No one wants to ask anything. The panelists are still here. You can still drop your questions. But before we get anything from them, I have a personal question that I want to ask all the panelists. This is thrown out to all of you, and anyone can answer in any order. We all know that as women now, it's hard in every sector, every industry is hard to keep up. We are struggling to keep up. So what advice would you give to us, the younger women coming up in our various different sectors? So anyone can answer. Dr. Zainab, I can see you smiling. You can go first.
No, I'm smiling at the chat box. Rashida is greeting me.
Oh, okay.
Classmate.
So
Yeah,
anyone can answer.
balancing.
Anyone can answer
Okay,
that.
go ahead. Let's hear from the he for she.
Okay, thank you, Your Excellency.
So how
the floor.
Yeah.
I was going to yield it to you. But thank you so much for the opportunity. Just one thing I want to say. Give it your best shot. Every opportunity you have, every task you've been given, give it your best shot. You find yourself in a committee, give it your best shot. You're given a special assignment, give it the best. Just give it your best shot. Someone is going to acknowledge. You might not like women, you might not want to give opportunity, but a lot of times there are very few people who can see a good job that has been done, and we don't want to acknowledge that a good job has been done. Many of us, organizations give us opportunities because every time we were given a job, we gave it a very good go and we got excellent results. And that's how we got to where we are. So every opportunity you have, give it a good shot. Remember, Because you are a woman, you have to put in more effort than any other person. Because you are a woman, when you achieve something, they look for a reason why you achieved it. If it's a man, he got it because he's good. He got it because he's hardworking. If you're a woman, you got it because of other reasons. So make sure you give yourself that opportunity to do a good job. And remember, when one woman fails, one woman is dragged down, several other women suffer for that one woman that has been dragged down. So give it a good go every opportunity. Thank you.
That was absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. And I agree with everything you said. Back to any other panelists. Anyone wants to say something?
Yeah, I would say something. You asked for advice for, for younger women that seem to be struggling and all that. So one of the things I would say is that women, we are perfectionists. We try to, even when we've done our best, sometimes imposter syndrome seems to come in, messing up with our head that, oh no, it's not good enough. I'm not sure it's good enough and all that. So I look to what Mrs. Ofondo has said. We're good. Just do your best. Give it your best shot. And somebody would definitely acknowledge, give it your best shot. It's just like a lot of times we try to, in the process of, gearing up for the job, trying to ensure that we put in the best, trying to ensure that it's perfect. The man will just come, do what he has to do and move on. And we're still like trying to, gather enough. So I would say we should kill imposter syndrome that keeps, ringing in our head, okay, we're not sure we're good enough. That's absolutely not true. Just give it your best shot, do your best, put your best foot forward all the time, and it will surely come to fruition. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. That's very important because I know a lot of women, even myself, we struggle from imposter syndrome. So thank you for that advice. Dr. Zainab, would you want to with a final note, final advice?
I think a lot of it is the things we know. That support is important. Identify your support network, your strengths. It doesn't have, your strength can be, and your support network can be your family, your spouse, your friends, but it can also be something within you. I have a strength at 3 a.m. in the morning. I wake up at 3 a.m. and I get my brain waves at that time. So identify it and know that don't try and beat something at 4 p.m. I have to answer this thing or write this thing now. I will leave it aside. When I wake up in the middle of the night, I know it will come. Identify your strengths and use it to your advantage.
All right, thank you so much. This brings us to the end. But before we close, I'd like to point out that Rashida Saleh from the audience mentioned, ask for what you want, network as much as possible. That's the final advice that we have from today. So thank you so much to all our panelists for agreeing to come on this and for giving us such valuable insights, for the advice. I'm sure this was very beneficial to everyone on this call. We really appreciate it. And thank you so much for SPE for having me on as the moderator for the day. It has been an honor to moderate this panel. Thank you. Back to you, Akpan.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was quite an exciting, phenomenal panel discussion. You agree with me that our moderator from BBC did an amazing job. Please, can we give Medina some virtual applause? Can we celebrate Medina? Thank you so much, Medina, for that very, very insightful moderation there. Thank you to all of the phenomenal speakers, from Madam Ejiro to Madam Chinenye to the only man amongst women. Thank you so much for all you have done. And of course, our phenomenal keynote speaker. Thank you. Please, can we give them some virtual applause? Some virtual applause. Okay, we are going to wrap up the event in less than 5 minutes. I'm surprised that nobody had questions, but you're not having questions means that you all enjoyed and took so much from the discussion today. Okay, so we switch gears and we are trying to say that you should join SPE Nigeria, join SPE Abuja section. Of course, we have several member benefits and several student benefits. The cost to be a member is 86,500 naira. And of course, to renew your membership, it's about 69,500 naira. Please contact engineer Romeo Ogolo. His number is on the screen, just in case you want to renew your membership. The account details is on the screen. You can take a screenshot, just in case you want to also be part of SPE Abuja section. This event and our past events are live on our social media platforms. Like today's zone is streamed on YouTube. You can go on YouTube, search SPE Abuja section, and of course, you'll see all of the past webinars, technical sessions we've had. Go on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, now called X, and of course, Facebook, LinkedIn, and you'll see all of our publicity content. If you have any question, send an email to spabuja-info@gmail.com and you will be responded to in 24 hours. Our YPs, we have an amazing masterclass for you. 25th of February to 29th of March this year, we have this masterclass on Power BI and AI. Please, it's free. Take advantage of this and learn from experienced professionals. We also have the Women Leadership Lecture Series organized by SPE Nigerian Council, which will take place on the 20th and 21st of March 2025. You can take a screenshot. Of course, we have amazing speakers who will do a masterclass and of course will give us amazing feedback during the panel session. Free photo shoots for early birds. Please take a screenshot and be part of this event. For students, we have the SPE African Students Annual Congress. It happens at Bayero University, Kano, and it's going to take place from the 3rd to the 5th of April 2025. We expect to see you in Kano. Of course, the last but not the least, we have the Oloibri Lecture Series and NFG Forum, which takes place on the 10th of April 2025. We advise that you participate in this. Of course, the theme is on your screen. Your Excellencies, very distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we switch gears to the end of this event and would like to have a closing remarks. Of course, the closing remark will be taken by no other than the program's chair, Professor Kafayat Adeyemi. However, she's ably represented by the assistant program's chair, Dr. Malami Mohammed. Dr. Malami, please, the stage is yours for your closing remark, please.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Confirm you can hear me, please.
Loud and clear, sir.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Very, very insightful discussion. Thank you so much for all the panelists and everybody. But before I go ahead with the closing remarks, I would like to just mention a few things. Yeah. Yeah. So, in the words of our council chair, while she was responding to Her Excellency about the moving the needle, I think for us in SPE, the needle has moved already. Why? Because I said so. Because even the council chair has said it's a practical example for us in SPE that we have already embraced diversity and inclusion. So why I said so is because if you look at the membership of SPE, in Nigeria, we have a total membership of over. Out of this, our council chair is a lady, a woman of substance. I'm talking about engineer Dr. Amina Ramadani. So I think we can say that the needle has already moved in SPE. Thank you so much. So with the closing remark, on behalf of the council chair, on behalf of the section chair of Abuja, and also on behalf of the program's chair, I would like to thank everyone for joining us today to celebrate the International Women's Day with SPE Abuja section. It has truly been an inspiring session filled with valuable insights, stories, and also some ideas. And first of all, I would like to say to our panelists, to our speakers, for your for the shared invaluable experience and wisdom with us. Your contributions have truly enriched our understanding and inspired us to strive for greater inclusivity and empowerment of women in the energy sector. To our dedicated organizing team at the SPE programs, at the SPE Abuja section, specifically the diversity and inclusion and also the programs department, thank you for your hard work and commitment in bringing this webinar to life. Your efforts have undoubtedly made a positive impact on our SPE community. All participants who join us today, thank you very much for your active engagement and also for your listening, for your audience. Your enthusiasm and dedication to advancing gender equality and energy in the energy industry are truly commendable. As we celebrate International Women's Day today, let us not only reflect on the achievement of women in our sector, but also renew our commitment to supporting and uplifting one another in the energy industry and beyond. Once again, thank you for being part of this important event, and let us continue to break barriers, push boundaries, and inspire change, because when women rise, industry thrives. Happy International Day. I would like to leave you with some few adage that says, if you educate a man, you only educate an individual. But if you educate a woman, you educate a nation. Also, another African proverb says, educate a girl child and you change the entire world. Thank you very much for listening, and we look forward to having you in our subsequent engagement. Thank you, and happy International Women's Day. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Malami Mohammed, for that very, very exciting closing remark. Ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of our IYD celebration. Of course, the discussion continues, even though the event comes to an end. Please, we normally do a photo shoot when we wrap up an event. So please, we like you turn on your video cameras, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a quick snapshot and let's see how beautiful you all look for the gram. Thank you. Just turn on your video cameras. Let's see you smile. And then when I say SPE, you kindly respond with clean energy. Please turn on your video cameras, ladies and gentlemen. I'm seeing only 2 men. Have all the men have disappeared? What's happening? Please, the men, please, where are you? Please. We know it's a Women's Day, but we like men to show their faces. Okay. I'm still waiting for more people. We have just 9 people with their camera on, whereas I'm seeing 23 still on the call. Please turn your video cameras. Okay, so when I say SPE, you respond with clean energy with your thumbs up. Okay, you can unmute your mic now. Respond with clean energy and your thumbs up. We'll still wait for like a few more people to turn on the video cameras. Okay, are you ready? SPE.
Clean energy.
Clean energy.
I'm not seeing you smile. Smile. The decision cancel chair, please. SPE.
Clean energy.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, for 5 minutes, I'll allow you to network and then I'll end the call in 5 minutes. Thank you very much.